Tonight on Stand Up for the Week, Seann Walsh, Josh Widdicome, Ramesh Ranganathan, Angela Barnes, Simon Evans. But now, please welcome your host, Paul Chowdhry.
Welcome to Stand Up for the Week. What's happening, white people? You up for this tonight? So what's been happening this week? Google Earth has got a picture, right, of a housing estate in the West Country that some people say looks quite racist. Is there anything racist about this housing estate to you? I tried to get directions to this housing estate, and I was told to go to Devon, take a right again, take the next right, and it's just down there on the far right. So a man was trying to have a premiere in a hotel this week after putting a fire extinguisher up his arse. I know white people can't deal with the hot curry, but that's going too far. That curry's gone right through me, mate. You want a glass of water? No, where's the fire extinguisher, Dave? He was also racially abusing the Bangladeshi staff and fondling himself in front of the other guests. Even Lenny Henry doesn't enjoy a premiere in that much. Another story I heard this week, right? A British guy was attacked by a crocodile on a golf course in Mexico. At first, his mates didn't help him. They just thought he was wearing a massive Lacoste logo. His mate started kicking the crocodile, which made the crocodile even more angry because he recognised his uncle on his shoes. What's the problem? I mean, people just don't go near wild animals. I was on Instagram this week, right? And I saw these people in the Middle East who've got pet lions. And look at this idiot. I mean, I know if you got a cat, you're like, oh, look, the cat scratched my arm. If you got a lion, you're like, oh, look, the lion got pissed off. It's like the Middle Eastern version of You've Been Framed. Look at this man being eaten by a lion. But he just made £250. Join us on next week's You've Been Framed when Ahmed tries to fly a plane. There's massive reforms in China, right? Because now couples are allowed to have more than one child. It's great news. That's great news. Because more Chinese children can only mean one thing: cheaper trainers. Just think of all the Chinese midwives. Because the deliveries can be quite difficult. If they turn up late, you get free prawn crackers. This is a win-win situation. Because Win-Win is the most popular baby name in China. This week, a group of law students have been blacking up as Somali pirates at a fancy dress party. This is our future judicial system. Would you let these guys be your barrister, Dave? Yeah, you'd be fine, mate. Would you let these guys be your barrister? You get a parking ticket, you get life. You know, you never get any, like, black people whiting up. It doesn't work the other way around, does it? There's a reason black people don't white up. It doesn't look right. You know? Here's a picture of Barry Obama. Here's Mr. Afternoon Tea. And here's my favourite. I saw the new Lily Allen video. You seen this? Right? Lily Allen reckons that she's tackling racism and sexism in this video. How's she doing this? By filling it with half-naked black women. That's like trying to fight heart disease by opening up a KFC in Glasgow. I haven't seen the whole video, I just caught a little snatch. I mean, I don't want to say anything sexist, because I know there's a lot of women in this crowd tonight. I don't want to come across as sexist or anything, because I love women. Especially the pretty ones. The dances are seen pouring champagne over each other's arses, which is also how they make WKD. Are you ready for your first act? Here with all the entertainment news, please welcome Seann Walsh.
Thank you. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. How's it going? Yeah. So, entertainment news. Yeah, here we are. It's the jungle's back. Some of you worrying, yeah, I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. The bookie's favourite is already Joey Essex. Don't clap that. Don't. He is too. When he speaks, it hurts. It's just, what is he? He's broken, isn't he? He's broken. Someone should turn him off and turn him back on again. See if he's fixed. It's so painful. Joey Essex, that's not his real name, is it? Come on. He's had to change that so that he can remember where he lives. That is what's happening. You know that. During the week, the Bush Tucker trials, he ate sheep's brain, which doubled his IQ. That is how thick he is. Already in the jungle, he's been true to form. He had to be taught to tell the time by a beauty queen. If you were learning from a beauty queen, you have problems. Do you know what I mean? That'd be like if Pete Doherty was your life coach. Do you know what I mean? It's just... He said in the jungle, he said, I've got a watch, but watches are more like fashion, ain't they? My watch ain't got numbers on it. Definitely a bracelet. Definitely. Without a doubt. You know when someone is just so stupid that sometimes you're not sure whether they are so stupid or profound. You don't know whether what they just said is so stupid or profound. Like, if they'd said it in a more intelligent voice, you might have to stand there and go, yeah, no, I never thought of it like that. That's really, yeah, very interesting, yeah. You know? Like, he said, he asked, does the rainforest rain on purpose? But then if you think about it, if you sort of said that in a French accent, it might sound quite philosophical, might it? Does the rainforest rain on purpose? Think about it, you know? It's interesting, isn't it? It could do, you know? Maybe accident, maybe purpose, no one knows, If time travels quicker when you're having fun, why are there no bouncy castles on trains? If time travels quicker when you're having fun, then tell me this, why are there no bouncy castles on trains? Think about it, get back to me. Take your time, please. All these reality stars, they're so thick. And they make a good living. That's what scares me, they make a good living. You don't need to be educated anymore. Forget that, forget uni. If you're a parent, you might as well bring up your child badly. Just do it, bring up your child badly. Have dads coming home from parents' evening. I'm not happy with you. I am not happy with you. I spoke to your teacher. She tells me that this week, apparently you've been hard-working, conscientious and determined. She told me that you've been into school every single day this week. What's that about? What is that about, huh? Your mum's beside herself. She bought you 200 fags at Christmas. You haven't smoked any of them. What's that, huh? Do you know what? I think it's the kids you've been hanging around with. This has got to change. This has got to change. That Hugo boy, the president of the chess club, all that. 13 years of age, still a virgin, ain't got a bong. No, you're not hanging around with him anymore. It wouldn't last 5 minutes at the Big Brother house. I want you hanging around to those kids on the corner of the street, those ones in the hoodies. They're not even 16 yet, and they're dealing proper skunk, all right? Don't you answer back. Don't apologise to me. Do not apologise to me. Look me in the eyes and say, shut up. And you, young lady, where do you think you're going, huh? Dressed up like that. Take that coat off, put on these heels, paint yourself orange, you slag. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the entertainment news. Thank you very much. See you later.
Seann Walsh. Great work there. Are you ready for your next act? With all this week's headline news, please welcome Josh Widdicome.
Hello. So, I think the main story this week for me is in Toronto, and it is the mayor of Toronto. Yes, Rob Ford. He's a popular man. If you don't know what he's done, I mean, he has been a naughty boy. He's been drink driving. He was filmed talking about how he'd like to murder someone. He allegedly brought escorts into City Hall. Right, and he has admitted smoking crack. But he still hasn't been sacked. He's the kind of person that makes you go, well, Boris Johnson's all right, isn't he? If you don't know what Rob Ford looks like, this is what he looks like. That is genuinely him at work. And you might say, well, wearing a football shirt to work is unprofessional. I'd say, once you've smoked crack, more or less every day is dress down Friday, isn't it? People go, Rob, what are you doing? Why aren't you wearing a suit? Oh, I don't want to get crack on it. I mean, that doesn't show a politician that takes himself seriously. If David Cameron turned up at the G8 in a full Aston Villa kit, Barack Obama going, you're wearing shin pads? What the fuck are you doing? Got G8 on the back as well. But it's actually quite cheap because they do it by the letter, so I've had a real bonus there. One of his defences for taking crack, Rob Ford, was that he said, oh, don't worry, I'm not an addict, right? Well, for me, that makes it worse, doesn't it? Because if you're an addict, at least that's a reason to take it. If when it comes to crack, you can take it or leave it, leave it. He's basically one of those annoying social smokers, but with crack. That's what it is. He'd be outside his pub, he'd come up to you and go, I couldn't just have a bit of your crack, could I? You know, I only do it when I'm out on about. I mean, I wouldn't buy my own. People were with him as well when he was smoking his crack, which I find that unbelievable. If you were with the guy that was running your city while he was smoking crack, you'd think, all my Christmases have come at once here, haven't they? I mean, if you were with Boris Johnson and he was smoking crack, you would think, I have got him exactly where I want him. I am never paying for a Boris bike ever again. Yeah, is that Boris? Yeah, you know that photo I've got you? Yeah. I want my bins collected on Tuesdays and Thursdays from now on. He said, though, he's given an excuse, Rob Ford, right? He said, don't worry, right? He's given an excuse. It's a good excuse as well for taking crack. And this was, when he was taking crack, he was really pissed. He said it was right. He said that probably happened in one of my drunken stupors. You go, that is not an excuse. I mean, being pissed is an excuse for buying cheesy chips. It's not an excuse for taking crack. I mean, I've been pissed. I've never ended up in a crack den. I've ended up in Chicken Cottage. That is about as far as I'd go. He said he's healthy, right? He said, I'm a healthy man. He said he spends 2 hours a day at the gym. Doing what? if I'm wrong, one of the few benefits of crack, I thought, was that it kept you thin. My favourite story of the week, though, my favourite headline, it's about Cornelius Gurlitt. If you don't know Cornelius Gurlitt, and you might not, he's a 80-year-old German man, and they found in his house 1,400 paintings worth £80 million. Right? And they've taken these off him because he got them because they were confiscated by the Nazis. I was reading this thinking, I mean, that would have been the best fucking episode of Cash in the Attic. Angela Rippon's going, and Cornelius wants a new stair lift. We've managed to raise £80 million. So he's also going to have a holiday and invade Poland. They said that it's quite a kind of, he's lived a very lonely existence. They described his life. They said he lives in a bare apartment, I would say. Put some paintings up. Right? And apparently he's out of touch with reality, right? They said, right, he talks to his paintings, he described them as loyal. I think they've misheard it. I think he probably said oil. And he said he's not watched TV since 1963. I mean, this is the only person in the world that still thinks Jimmy Savile's career is on the up and up. I don't think that they're as valuable as people say, right? I've worked it out. They should be worth about 600 grand each if you kind of multiply it down, right? And I've got a few of them here. I'd say this isn't worth that much, this painting. Here it is. That is genuinely one of them. Not only is that one of the freakiest things I've ever seen in my life, secondly, it's clearly a fake because she's clearly wearing a digital watch. Here's another one of them. Here's another one. Now, my guess there is that, you know, he started slipping a few of his own in there, hasn't he? Because if I saw that, I wouldn't go, fucking hell, that's an awesome painting. I'd go, well, your niece is doing well at school, isn't she? You're going to put that on the fridge? Well, my favourite one, this is, and here it is. Yeah, there it is. That's an original picture of the Mayor of Toronto. So there you go. I think that's just about tied up the week's headlines, so thank you very much. My name's Josh Widdicome. Cheers, goodbye.
Still to come, Ramesh Ranganathan, Angela Barnes, Simon Evans.
Welcome back to Stand Up for the Week. Are you ready for your next act? Now with all the first world problems, please welcome Angela Barnes.
I'm here to talk to you about the first world news. If you don't know what the first world news is, that's basically, it's the news for people that don't have enough to worry about in their lives, right? Or, as they're also known, Daily Mail readers. So the first story that I want to talk to you about today is that Harrods have released their range of Christmas hampers, and the top of the range one will set you back a mere £20,000. Right, yeah, but don't fear, don't worry, Aldi have come to the rescue. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You've got to love Aldi. Aldi have come up with their version for £545, right now. And the papers are saying Aldi, therefore, have saved you £19,500. No, they haven't. I was never going to spend 20 grand on a hamper, right? That money is not now in my bank account. Oh, it's all right, Mum, I've got the Aldi ones and now I can go to university. It doesn't work like that, does it? And also, £545 for a hamper from Aldi, right? Surely, if you spend £545 in Aldi, you now own Aldi. Doesn't come in a basket, it comes in a branch of Aldi. Apparently the price of Christmas puddings has gone up by 125% in the last 12 months, right? I had a feeling things were getting a bit tight last year when my mum, instead of putting a coin in the Christmas pudding, put in an IOU. Luckily, Heston Blumenthal and Waitrose have come to the rescue. They've got an alternative Christmas dessert for us. Here it is. It's a strawberry and lychee frozen gatto. Yeah, Heston, nothing says Christmas like a frozen lychee, does it? Look at it, looks like a Viennetta in a sleeping bag. There's too much going on. And there's too much going on, it's too busy. It's like, it looks like a cross-section of a cliff from a geography textbook. Too many flavours going on in there. Look at all the different colours and that. I'll tell you what, it looks like it's been made at the Great British Bake Off ADHD special. The Oxford English Dictionary has this week announced its 2013 Word of the Year, right? Now, the Word of the Year is supposed to reflect the zeitgeist, what's going on in society, right? American dictionaries have it as well, a Word of the Year. Last year, the US Word of the Year was hashtag. And the year before that, it was Occupy, right, because of all the Occupy protests. Incidentally, Occupy has been the word of the year in Israel since 1948. So, the Oxford English Dictionary had a shortlist, right, for this year's word of the year. Now, the shortlist, it included bedroom tax, right, fair enough, and twerking, right. Now, twerking makes me feel a bit icky. That going in the Oxford English Dictionary, it's a bit like when your mum says totes amazeballs. It's not right, is it? But the winner of the Words of the Year for 2013 is selfie. Right, there we go, that's the winner. Now, when I first heard the word selfie, I don't know about you, but I thought it was a euphemism for masturbation. Right? And I should probably have checked that before I posted one on Facebook. Just give you a second to get that image out your head. Now, selfies crop up everywhere. They do crop, especially on dating websites, I've found. Now, I don't know about you, I won't engage with anyone on a dating website who has a selfie as a profile picture, right? Because all that says to me is that you are so sad there was nobody in your life who could have taken that picture for you. Not even your support worker. But selfies with friends could be fun. They don't have to be a solo thing. Have a look at these two girls larking about. Oh, aren't they having fun? Look at them, it's brilliant. Just a little word of warning, right? Before posting your selfie, it's probably best to check the background. Yeah, man, having a shit. There we go. Brilliant. Amazing. Now, before I go, I've got a special treat for you, because I had a little look on the internet for the best selfie I could find, right? And I went onto Instagram, and this is genuinely what I found, and you're so lucky, right? Because here, ladies and gentlemen, mostly ladies, is our esteemed host, Mr. Paul Chowdhry. Oh, look at that. Ladies in the room dripping like broken fridges. It's amazing. Look at that. Even I'm turned on and I'm racist. It's weird, isn't it? Look at that. I have got to get me one of those. That is... so I think it's a Samsung. Look at it. Yeah. Actually, before I came out here, right, I did catch a member of the crew masturbating over that picture. Yeah, it was Paul. If anyone's interested, he's going to be in the bar having a drink after the show. So, I think I'll leave you with that image in your head. You've been absolutely lovely. Enjoy the rest of your night with Angela Barnes. Thank you very much.
Angela Barnes. It's gone to meet me at the bar already, isn't it? Are you ready for your next act? Now, with all the news from the world of sport, please welcome Romesh Ranganathan.
Thank you, thank you. I'm Romesh Ranganathan, I'm here to do the sports. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about David Haye. David Haye has pulled out of his big comeback fight with Tyson Fury because he's hurt his shoulder. Oh dear, David. To prove it, he's tweeted a hospital selfie. Oh, look at him. Bless him. He's basically done that as proof. That's proof of his injury. That's the equivalent of one of us going, I can't make it in today. I'm feeling really rough, man. I can't do it. It's the second time he's done this. He pulled out of the first one because of a gashed eyebrow. This is basically like, you know when you arrange to meet up with someone for a drink and you don't really like them? So you set the date up for 3 months' time. And then when the day's approaching, you just sort of pull out at the last minute. Do you know what I mean? That's basically what I do. Right, I've cancelled so many lunches with people because my kids are ill that I actually got a call from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I don't know if you're aware of this. David Hay does not allow himself to have sex for 6 weeks before a fight. And now he's retiring, he can do it whenever he wants. And what this also means is that, I've been married for 3 years, which technically means I am always prepared for a boxing match. People describe David Hay as a personality boxer, but I sort of think he's benefited from the fact that there's sort of a lack of personalities in boxing. It's not like it used to be. Like, we used to have, like, Chris Eubank. I'm more than a pugilist. I don't understand. Why is this man talking about my mother? They have Mike Tyson, which is basically the same as Chris Eubank, but American. I'm a pugilist. Why is this man talking about my mother? He had a real personality, right? He had a real personality. He said things like, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And that's pretty much true, isn't it? As I found out when I told my grandmother that I was planning on marrying a white woman. Mike Tyson this week has brought out an autobiography. Mike Tyson is so batshit crazy that he got a face tattoo, and that's probably one of his better life decisions, right? He fought while he was on drugs, it turns out. He fought while he was on drugs, but that drug was marijuana. So all this time that Mike Tyson is behaving like that, he was chilled out, right? What the hell would it have been like if he sobered up? The man that bit off Evander Holyfield's ear was chilled out. He just had the munchies. So, the England football team, this week they've lost to both Chile and Germany. It's hard being an England fan, right? It's hard being an England fan, because 1 minute you think you're going to win the whole thing, and the next minute we think we're the absolute shittest thing ever. Do you know what I mean? I go, what the hell are you doing, Rooney? He's crap, isn't he, Rooney? I told you, he's crap. Rooney, a crap Rooney. Rooney! 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 I told you, mate, he's a legend! First of all, right, supporting England is a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing, right? Because the only thing worse than leaving your Christmas decorations up too long is leaving an England flag up too long outside your house. Do you know what I mean? You're definitely sending a message to your neighbours, aren't you? England flag 2 days after the tournament, national pride. 2 weeks after the tournament, national front. Right, this... The newspapers are up in arms because apparently the hotel that England are staying in Brazil is rubbish, right? Football players are paid so much, I'm glad they're staying in a shithole, right? But the thing is, let's be honest, the England team's idea of a shit hotel is going to be very different to yours and mine, isn't it? I can't imagine John Terry is going to have to knock on the door at 10:30 p.m. to be let in by the night porter. They're never going to have to suffer the horrible feeling that you get when the breakfast is included and you go downstairs and you find out it's continental. They're not going to do what I do, which is where I take the little bottles of shampoo and then I pretend to my wife that I got her a present. Little sachet of something, darling. The toaster. You know the toasters that they've got at hotels? They must absolutely baffle England players. I don't know what's going on here. John Terry, I don't know what's going on. I put the bread in, it's white. Disappears for 2 minutes. It's brown. It's like my worst nightmare. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the sports. I've been Ramesh Ranganathan. Thank you very much. Good night.
Still to come. Simon Evans.
Welcome back to Stand Up for the Week. Are you having a good time? Here with all the news from Middle England, please welcome Simon Evans.
Good evening. How the devil are you? You well? Big news in the Daily Mail, the Bible of Middle England, this week is that there is a middle-class crime wave sweeping the country. The squeezed middle are resorting to crime, and the evidence accrued in order to demonstrate the truth of this is a number of items which supermarkets are complaining are the most stolen from their shelves. Now, my initial impression with this, as I'm sure yours is, that we all do a bit of grazing, don't we, when we shop? If it's a medium to large size supermarket, you're entitled to have a little nibble here and there as you make your way through it. This is surely understood. An olive here, a sun-blushed tomato there, and if you have the children with you, perhaps an extra strong Belgian beer of some kind. And possibly one for you as well. But the idea is that substantial quantities of certain items are going missing. When you actually read the list, it begins to falter slightly. The first two on the list in the newspaper were Gold Blend Coffee and something called Glen's Vodka. Now, putting the vodka to one side for one moment, which I'm sure is something few of you have been able to do, but putting that to one side, any brand of instant coffee is about as middle class as an evening out at a nail bar, okay? Only two things are acceptable to be golden: retrievers and actual fucking gold, okay? Anything else is crass and tacky. Instant coffee may have its place in a car workshop or a provincial hairdresser where it will probably be offered by name. But in a middle-class household, believe me, it is offered only as a direct insult or a deterrent, possibly to your daughter's new boyfriend who has come into the kitchen still in his work boots and keeps fiddling with his ear piercing. To a workman you suspect of loitering, it's not a hug in a mug, it's a fuck off in a cup. And that is not 1 inch of exaggeration, I assure you. No more steal it than I'd steal rat poison. Glen's Vodka, however, is a slightly different matter. The idea that Gold Blend is middle class is deluded, it's inaccurate, it's misguided, but the idea that budget brands of vodka are middle class is just surreal. It's the kind of empty bottle you often see on a bit of urban grassland next to a single abandoned shoe. And possibly a mattress which is forming part of some sort of improvised alfresco bedroom suite. The whole thing reeks of consensual but bitterly regretted sexual activity. Even according to their own website, their own publicity, Glen's Vodka is distilled in Scotland from sugar beet. That sounds delicious, doesn't it? Again, I'm not a vodka snob, but I do think it's a good idea to buy vodka that is at least trying to sound Russian, rather than something that's cooked up in a still round the back of Greg's. So much for instant coffee and cheap vodka. A couple of these other products they ring a little more true as a middle-class target for the shoplifter. There was smoked salmon, Manuka honey, whole gammon joints, and goose fat. But the leg of gammon, now this is intriguing to me. Who manages to shoplift a leg of gammon, even if you're wearing quite a baggy pair of tweeds? That's quite a challenge, isn't it? I should think probably the best way to nick a gammon is to sit it on that little plastic seat at the top of the trolley, where you normally put Jasper, dress it up in a mini Bowden duffel coat, and scold it on the way out for fingering the chocolates. Nobody's going to stop you and say, "Excuse me, your son stinks of pork." I think it's probably a safe getaway. Why is he wearing a little fried egg and a slice of pineapple on his head? It's his hat, fuck off. The thing that's being missed about all of this, I think, which is the truth about shoplifting, which we all know, is nobody does shoplifting, really. Nobody really steals food because they're going hungry otherwise. People shoplift for a kick. It's a thrill, isn't it? It's an adrenaline rush. Shoplifting, and even more so, doing a runner from restaurants, which is great fun. But then you reach a certain age and you have a respectable job and you have children and it becomes impractical. Fact is, children are slow to respond to a request. They're slow to move at the best of times, especially when it comes as a sudden urgent move. They end up getting flustered and they leave behind a coat which costs more than the meal you've just saved. The whole thing is a waste of time, where you grab their arm and run for it, and it's only when you're halfway through the traffic you realise you're running along with a gammon inside a duffel coat. My 2 children are rubbish at it, as indeed was our third, who was last seen struggling to get out of her high chair in Pizza Express in Dulwich. Go on without me, her eyes seem to say, I'll only hold you back. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Simon Evans. That's all from Stand Up for the Week. You've been a great crowd.
Being friends with Russell Crowe, hungover on a Sunday, watching the football. Russell, if you pop into the shop, you wouldn't get us something, would you? Hunger rises within you.